Hello and welcome. Today we're going to be learning about hemp. And with my good friend Philly, she's going to be asking some of the important questions about hemp. She told me that we need to visit this place, I had a lot to learn. Isn't that so?
This is very true.
She actually had to explain some of it. What was that word again? I
Cannabis.
didn't know that is called. Kind of what?
Cannabis.
Okay, you know what? I have a lot of questions, so I'm just going to head over to this place so that we can see what's happening in this greenhouse. Yeah, thank
Happy
you.
to have you. Good day, everyone. Today we are at Dr. Manura's farm. Today our main topic will be working on hemp farming. So she's here to explain to us on the nitty-gritties of how to start the process from seedling all the way to pressing the product into the products we then see in shops. Let's go.
Thank you so much, Felicitas. Welcome to the farm. This is our seed bed that we are looking at. Our seedlings are imported. We can't get them locally because this is a new project in the country. I think most of us cannot differentiate between hemp, cannabis, and marijuana, but there is a very big discrepancy between the two. So if you talk to people about growing hemp, cannabis, they will think you're growing marijuana. But this is a non-psychoactive marijuana, or sorry, cannabis, and it doesn't harm anyone. It's a product that everyone should actually take. I cannot go into the biology or the physiology of it. I think I will concentrate on the growing process. So we start from the seedling trays. As you can see, we've got several seedling trays here. We use what is called a grow mix.
Is it any kind of grow mix?
Yes, I think you can use any, but I have been using a grow mix from Kutaga, Ndakuta as a president. I've been using grow mix from Kutaga, and it has been working very well. What I've learned is the grow mix should not have any chemicals. So if you can get grow mix from any source, provided it doesn't have any chemicals, because we're supposed to be growing this crop organically, 100% organically. So as you can see, the seedlings are already coming out, and usually it takes about 48 hours for germination to start, and you should get maximum germination within 7 days. So this crop, for it to germinate well, it needs adequate water. It also needs a lot of light.
Adequate water, meaning the soil of it is supposed to stay moist at all times.
Yes, it's supposed to stay moist all the times. If it grows dry, because the seedlings are still very tender, they'll actually dry up. So we're doing watering about 3 times a day to make sure you shouldn't soak it or get it soaked, but you should be moist enough for the seedling to actually germinate.
Okay, you mentioned about the seeds, you're importing the seeds. Where are you importing them from?
Or we got our seeds from Switzerland.
Switzerland.
Yes.
Why specifically Switzerland? Do we not have like different climates? Would that not affect them?
That's a very important question. We do have different climates, but apparently the seeds that they gave us can actually grow in Zimbabwe. I think they can easily acclimatize to our climate, because we haven't had any challenges. Initially, they thought we need more light for the seeds to germinate, or for the seedlings to grow. But we have realized that in Zimbabwe, we've got adequate lighting. We don't even need artificial light for us to have a good crop at the end of the day. So we've just been doing it using sunlight. Zimbabwe has got, I think it's well known that we've got the best conditions for this crop to grow, because we enjoy 12 hours of sunlight almost every day, even during winter. So for those people who are in the regions that are frost free, they can actually grow this crop perennially, which means throughout the year.
Oh, wow. Okay. So why, you said Sweden? Switzerland.
Yes.
Why Switzerland and not any other places? Maybe Croatia or anywhere else? Why specifically seeds from Sweden opposed to maybe other areas that have similar climates to ours? Why the seeds from there?
Yeah, apparently, like I told you, this is a new project in Zimbabwe. So
Mm,
we actually looked elsewhere, but we couldn't get any joy, and they couldn't give us as much as we wanted.
mm,
I tried United States.
mm-hmm,
Um, I thought I was actually going to get some seeds at some point, but they told me that they cannot export to Zimbabwe. I'm not sure whether it's due to sanctions or any other reasons.
mm,
And unfortunately, they could also give me the quantities that I wanted. They could only
mm,
give me small numbers, and it would not be cost effective to just have 250 seeds,
mm.
yeah, instead of thousands that I wanted.
Fair
And yeah,
enough.
so I also realized that the Swiss are also providing seeds to quite a number of African countries, and the crop has been doing well.
Fantastic. So, are you growing the seedlings specifically only for your farm, or are you also selling seedlings to other cannabis farmers?
Okay, yeah, initially it was a learning process, so I
Mm,
had to do it for myself, for my farm. But I realized that we had done very well, and there are quite a number of people who are interested in doing this project, but they didn't have seedlings or they didn't have seeds. It has been even more difficult to get seeds even from Switzerland.
mm,
So I thought I would actually share with fellow farmers who are interested, especially those who cannot afford to do the species that needs extra light, because this one
mm,
they call it an auto flowering plant,
mm-hmm,
hemp cannabis plant,
mm.
because it doesn't need any extra light other than the sunlight.
Okay. So, have you decided on how much you'd be selling in terms of how much each batch would be, or quantities? Do people need licensing in order to grow it, or do they just come to you?
Oh, that's a very important question, because for in Zimbabwe, for one to grow hemp cannabis, you ought to be licensed. So I can only sell to licensed growers. And I also have a license to sell the seedlings. I have acquired a license. I couldn't just sell the seedlings because I have them, because the grower's license that I have would not allow me to sell the seedlings. So I had to get a license to sell the seedlings. So we actually verify first. We go through the verification process to check whether one is licensed and whether their license is valid before we actually get an order from them. So internationally, seedlings would go for $4 to $5, but we understand that we are all starting and we are all struggling. So we're selling our seedling at $1.50 per seedling for now, because we just want to make sure that everyone can actually have access to
Mm.
the seedling and be able to grow. Because this, I believe, it is going to change our economy if we have as many farmers as is possible.
Awesome. Okay, so we are joined by our second guest here. I'll let him introduce himself.
Yeah, my name is Mnyarazi Chidondo, and I work for Bangi Consultancy. We provide services, agronomic advice, and technical services, especially in the cannabis industry. And yeah, we're working with Dr. Manyora on various aspects in the cannabis industry.
Amazing.
Yeah,
Can you add a bit more to maybe what Dr. Mayera could have left out on seedlings?
yeah. On seedlings production, I think she mentioned like most of the most important stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh.
Okay. So maybe can we discuss now the housing of it as you do your seedling project?
Well, the housing, as you can see, we are in a greenhouse.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like this is the best atmosphere for you to develop the seedlings, because you do not need direct sunlight,
Mm.
because since this is a very delicate crop. We're talking of $1 per each, so
Mm.
these are
It's
actually
quite
small
pricey.
babies.
Mm.
Yeah, so you need to give them the best conditions, so that you don't lose the moisture. The crop, it doesn't dry out.
Yes.
And why we need these greenhouses is it's usually because it takes a very short space of time,
Mm.
like in the greenhouses, like from the seedling phase to put it into the field.
Mm.
Yeah, I think you heard she mentioned that these are autoflowers,
Mm,
which means that they need to spend most of the time growing in the field.
mm,
Yeah. So in the seedling house and everything, it
mm.
usually needs only about 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
Yeah.
Okay, so how long
Yeah.
will they stay here within the seedling trays?
Like for germination here, we're talking of 1 week, 1.5 weeks, right?
Okay.
And then we transfer. Once they fully germinate,
Mm,
we have our first true leaves. We
mm.
transfer them into the ponds.
Into the ponds.
Yeah.
Okay. So why are these up here? Why are the seedling trays like elevated?
We elevate them because the seed, as we say, it is very delicate.
Mm,
Cannabis or hemp,
mm,
cannabis hemp, they do not need so much water.
mm,
Yeah. So if you dip them into the ponds before they germinate,
mm.
chances are most of the seeds they are going to rot.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, yeah.
Mm,
So you have to be sure that they now have a rooting system. They have the first true leaves which
mm,
come out, and then when they come out, then you can put them into the pond.
mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And what are the benefits of putting it in a pond?
Or water management. Now
Okay.
you don't need to keep watering 3 or 4 times a day.
Mm.
Water is now
They'll take as
already
much as they need.
as much as they need.
Yeah.
Is there anything you put within the water?
Nutrient management.
What
Yeah.
what do you mean by that? What are these nutrients you put in?
Nutrients, the fertilizers, the food.
Okay,
Remember.
fair enough. But I thought as well we were going strictly organic. So is this an organic fertilizer?
Uh-huh.
Mm,
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
interesting.
We use organic sources for nutrients.
So I'm assuming this, like you said, nutrient management. If I put too much, it might burn the crop. If I put too little, the crops will go yellow.
Yeah, the crops will go yellow.
And then okay. So how long do they stay within the bed there?
In the bed, yeah, we usually, maybe you give another 1.5 weeks.
Okay.
Yeah.
So okay, 1.5 weeks. So which means it's half a week
Yeah.
up here, and then the rest of the time they're in there
Yeah.
for the 2 weeks to lapse.
1.5. So around 2 to 3
2
weeks.
to 3 weeks. Yeah.
Yeah.
2 to 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm.
I'm seeing this green stuff that I'm sure is not like part of the seedlings or anything. Is that algae?
Yeah, it's algae.
Does that not affect the seedlings in any way? The
Eh,
crop?
Algae, it tends to affect when the crop is fully grown, but yeah, we don't encourage it, but we have ways that we treat it. And since these things are always in water,
It's
and
bound to happen.
it's bound to happen. But that's why I always recommend that you don't keep them, in the seedling house for so long.
Past the
Yeah.
3 week line.
So we have ways of remediating, removing all this algae, because it's a matter of balancing. Yeah.
Okay. So when people come to buy the seedlings, do they take it within a tray? How do they transport this? Does it need special type of transportation
Yeah,
Yeah,
transportation
but
is
in the trays.
in the trays?
Yeah, because as he said, once it's fully grown like this, it has got a very good rooting system, and the roots can easily dry up.
As we
It's
can
a
see at the
very-
bottom
it's
there
a
as well.
very it's a very sensitive crop. As you can see, the roots are actually coming out, and this actually also signals that it's ready for
For the field.
Yes.
yeah.
It's
So we
amazing.
always give them the seedlings, and then they'll bring back. We always give the clients the seedling trays, seedlings in the seedling trays. Then they can always bring them back, because we want to make sure that they will not lose anything. Like I told you, it's $1.50 per seedling, so you don't want to waste.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Sure.
Okay, we've mentioned the light situation as well as the greenhouse. Is there no particular ventilation requirements that are needed?
Yeah, ventilation, now that all depends with the temperatures that you're experiencing. It gets too hot, you open up the sides. It gets too cold, you close.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Okay.
I
So
mean, as I said, just like as you look at your baby, if baby is crying, it's too hot, you remove
Clothing, yeah.
yeah.
how do you see that? Is there a specific temperature you're supposed to have a thermometer and the to see what's
You definitely
the
need
recommended.
you definitely need a thermometer in the greenhouse.
Mm,
Yeah,
Because
and
it's 18 degrees to 35
18
degrees.
to 35 degrees.
So
okay.
during the night, the
That.
temperatures naturally drop. So we close the ends, and during the day, as you can feel, it's quite hot. But anyway, we actually have a thermometer
To make
check
sure.
to make sure the temperatures are right.
Yeah.
So with that said, this cannot be grown in extremely hot places in Zimbabwe, let's say maybe Kariba, and it can't be grown in fairly frosty, cold places, let's say Vumberish.
Yeah, sure. There is more to it than just the temperatures. Because like now we're talking about a seedling, which is very sensitive, or a young baby, as we may want to say. We need the right soils as well. So it's not all about temperature. So you need to have the sandy loamy soils, because it needs adequate drainage.
Okay.
So yeah, so I think in Zimbabwe, everywhere else where they've grown tobacco,
They
because
can
they
definitely
need
grow
the
this.
same, yeah, they need the same conditions. You can actually grow this.
Oh,
So
that's
if you
amazing.
cannot grow tobacco, it means you may want to try it, but we don't recommend. So for best use, you need to have sandy loamy soils.
Sandy loamy
So
soils.
the temperatures may be right, but if you don't have the correct soils, you will not be successful. And water as well. So we always, like I said earlier on, during the verification process, before we sell our seed, we always ask the pertinent questions to our clients to make sure that we don't sell them something that will not grow in their region.
Wow, that's full service.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Very full service.
We provide technical advisory services.
Oh,
We
that's
always
amazing.
follow up when the crop is in the field, because it's failing, so people don't know how it grows. So we make sure we offer them technical services,
Amazing.
and they don't have to pay for that. It will be part of the package.
Amazing. Do you guys do site visits for people who would have bought the seedlings and now are trying to?
Yeah.
You
Yes,
do?
we do. Yeah, they do.
that.
Yeah, those are the technical services
Those
that
are
I'm
technical
talking about.
after
Yes,
sales services.
after sales service.
So for how long do you keep doing the site visits to the people
As long as
Until they harvest.
your call.
who? Okay. Okay. Is there any question you feel you need to answer that I haven't asked?
Okay, thank you, Philly. I think I need to go back on the temperature issue. The temperature, the 18 to 35, refers to the field, when the plant is in the field. Actually, you don't have much control on what is happening in the field. But in the greenhouse, the optimum temperatures are 18 to 28. But it will not be a problem to our clients, because we are going to give them a seedling that has been hardened. So they don't have to worry about the greenhouse temperatures. But maybe for information's sake, I thought I need to go back to that fact. Then the other issue that I've heard from our potential clients is the issue of market. I was so happy to learn that fellow Zimbabweans have matured in agriculture. They don't just grow something just because their neighbors or somebody has told them to grow it. They now need to know whether they have got a good market and the price ranges, so that they can actually do their cash flows. So in terms of market, hemp cannabis is a well sought out crop. So I don't think anyone will ever have a problem of market. I've actually had visitors from Switzerland and France in the last month who were looking for as much as they could get. So I think once you have a good crop, the plant can sell itself. The market will not be a problem. And in terms of price ranges, I think Monya could help me. The current price ranges per ton or per kg of a fully grown flower.
Yeah, for fully grown flower, currently we have suppliers in the market who are looking, starting from a minimum of $20 per kg, right? And they have a maximum of maybe up to $80 a kg. But we're exploring more and more markets, and we are ready and willing to assist farmers, to gain market. And whenever we get gaps, we also can take some flour because we are also into the processing of this crop. And also on the soils, you also need to be very cautious on the soils. You need to test your soils in order to see if you have heavy metals or any other toxic substances, because this thing, as we said before, like it's organic, so you do not need any trace heavy metal elements needed in the crop. Yeah.
Good to
Oh,
know.
I think
okay, thank you, Munya. I think I actually had left out the issue of pH, but I think when you send your soils for testing, quite often they ask you what you want to be tested. You really need to know the pH of your soil. Munya, can you please refresh my memory? The pH is supposed to be, is it 6.5 to 7.5?
5 to 6.
5 to 6.
Yeah, 5 to
5 to
6.6.
6.
Yeah,
Okay, thank you
five
so
to
much.
6.6.
Okay, so yeah, 5 to, yeah, so it needs semi-acidic soils.
Semi-acidic
Yeah.
conditions.
The good thing is if your soils are too acidic, the soil testers quite often they will actually recommend what you need to do to the soils so that you can actually increase the acidity to the required pH.
Fantastic. And how would people get in touch with you if they wish to maybe purchase some of your seedlings?
Oh, thank you, Philip. So for if one decides to grow our crop, like I said, you need to contact us so that we do the verification process. Um, the best is to contact me on my WhatsApp number so that you not compete with my patients. My WhatsApp number is 0775 003983. I'll come again, 0775 003983. So if you don't get a response, I'll be a bit busy, but I'll always come back to you.
Okay, so that's with the country code +263.
Oh, yeah. Thank you, Philly.
Do you maybe have an email as well?
Oh,
People
yes,
can
I
write to
do.
you.
Email address is emanyora@gmail.com.
Fantastic.
So we need, I think, so that you get as much information as you can, I will take advantage of this platform. We need 3 weeks lead time for us to be able to process your order. So if you know you're going to be preparing your field, do the pH stuff and all that needs to be done, we'll learn more once we get to the field. We'll give you more information on what else needs to be done on land preparation. You should give us 3 weeks to prepare so that we give you a good crop, a good seedling that will survive outside the greenhouse.
Thank you so much for joining us. We're off to the field now. Hope to see you in part 2 of this segment.
Thank you, Philly. It's getting too hot here. We better get out.